The ancient ritual called fatherhood comes from the ideal method of obsolescence. Once a object is in its full stage of ethics, ethics is enveloped in the object, which means it's closed in an envelope. And this envelope has a seal of approval on it called the father. The seal of the envelope is what allows the father to have a trinity. Because the seal of the envelope is only a seal and not the envelope itself, it allows people to accept wisdom rather than intuition. And wisdom records the contract inside the envelope. So if a wise man reads an envelope, not only is he set asunder by the seal, the ideal form of the envelope is kept inside the circuit, which means it's no longer inside the envelope, but part of the seal. So this is what a object matter is. Matter is an ancient ritual that allows for people to deem things correct. And if they are correct, they are still part of the envelope. So not only does reading the envelope allow for history to be recordable, the recording of history is the understanding that the seal is breakable. And this breakable seal is actually a latch that never closes. So it's constant. It no longer has the ability to be absolute. Absolutism here would be recordable by the ability to remain intact with the object itself. And if the object exists, not only does the object fulfill its request, the object fulfills its notion of request, which means the notion of the absolute dies and becomes eternal. So, under absolutism, there is the wisdom to accept fire, and fire is called mastery. Because fire exists just for the sake of preserving wisdom, not only does the shade of a envelope parchment allow for the foldability of its pieces, the pieces of the foldings are part of who gets to be the recordable father. And the father is the contract you sign with the pieces of the envelope. Because the mother is required to be both the envelope and the seal, not only does the signature get written into the constitution of the envelope, you must also latch the seal onto the envelope, which means you are particular about who you chose. So if you are particular about the choice of your husband and or wife, you are officially matrimony. And matrimony is when the envelope is folded, and that's when you choose your husband. You never get married in this system. The system never allowed for a father to choose his brothel, which means you choose the seal. It means you choose the fiction of being folded. So to fold means to fear, and to fear means to be fire. And if you burn this fire on the envelope, the wax is printed, and printing is called press. And if press exists, not only does the father no longer have the ability to write letters, the letter of the law is on the child. And the child is the fulfillment of the law. So law is when children are folded into envelopes, and heroism is when the growing up of the child happens to fulfill the requirement of educating the son about how to fulfill his mother. And the mother is how the envelope gets sealed because the child bears the mark of her fulfilled envelope, which is the idea that the marriage is sanctified in blessing. And to bless that envelope, wisdom must be mastered.